In celebration of the Halloween season, I plan on beating every boss and event Terraria has to offer using only the spookiest of items, meaning I'll need to survive all of Pre-Hard Mode using only 3 terrible weapons, make it through the mechs switching classes constantly, then kill a god with an armful of pumpkins and a bundle of wooden stakes. This is Terraria Master Mode, Halloween only. Right into the world I jump, making sure to get rid of my only weapon, given its unspooky nature, before entering the caves. I'm able to grab a few bits and bobs, but without any way to defend myself, a basic slime is all it takes to do me in. Already dead, and I'm only 3 sentences in. I build up a basic house, craft 2 buckets, you'll see why in a minute, and return underground. Mining gold, looting chests, realizing that ghosts can just spawn during Halloween, consuming life crystals, and of course, dying. A lot. But aside from the deaths, I do also get my hands on 2 buckets of lava I put to good use against the local slime inhabitants. This is one of the only ways I'm able to go on the offensive in hopes of getting goodie bags or one of the 2 elusive Halloween exclusive weapons. And boy do I mean elusive. The first 2 goodie bags are soon dropped, but only have vanity sets inside. Naturally, I opt for Frankenbride. Realizing that this could take a while on just slimes, I meander into the corruption to break a shadow orb, which allows the goblin army to invade. Now, just to wait. And in the meantime, let's go over how this whole thing is gonna work. This is every single Halloween weapon in the game, and as you might notice, they fall neatly into only 2 categories, pre-boss and post-Plantera. Yeah, so obviously I'm not gonna be taking down the wall of flesh, all of the mechs, and Plantera using just rotten eggs. Not a chance. So here's the compromise. I am allowed to use any weapon dropped exclusively by Blood Moon enemies. Back to waiting, something I genuinely never thought possible has just occurred. Before even getting my 4th goodie bag, a bloody machete has just dropped from a random slime. And you can just tell how excited I am. This saves so much time, sending me on a killing spree, bludgeoning my way through the caves until the goblin army I thought I needed finally decides to show itself. The machete is absolutely no match for them. Great. Already outclassed and I just got the thing. But the masses can still be dealt with in relative safety with the lava pools. The invasion ends, so I continue the normal early game exploration, thoroughly prepare for Blood Moon fishing, buy a pair of stylishly useful boots, and return home when I feel an evil presence watching me. No preparations made, I desperately clear out the nearby fields. Ooh, shiny! And the Eye of Cthulhu has awoken. Immediately, I already know that this fight is not going to end very well. While the machete has okay range, 15 damage per hit is not much. I do get the eye into its 2nd phase, but start taking way too much damage. And the Eye of Cthulhu has been defeated. Oh, okay, that is not what I thought I was gonna say, yet inches away from death, it's true. I open its treasure bag to find a shield of Cthulhu, place its relic, and once again get to kicking rocks while waiting for a blood moon. To the point I even organize all of my chests. That's how bored I am. Thankfully, a slime rain swoops in to give me just enough dopamine to press on, eventually summoning the king slime. The fight really isn't too bad thanks to my rocket boots, but is very lengthy, making me be on my best behavior the entire time. And the king slime has been defeated, forcing me yet again to wait until finally a blood moon. I'm really only looking for wandering eye fish, speak of the devil, or zombie mermen, both of which can drop the pre-hard mode blood weapons. I can't quite seal the deal on the first fish, but the second one drops the vampire frog staff, and the third, the blood rain bow. This is a ginormous victory, and I plan on using these 2 weapons to kill the remaining pre-hard mode bosses, starting with the Eater of Worlds. I use a handful of bombs to clear out an arena in the corruption, then a few handfuls more to raise the ceiling high enough to use the blood rain bow. The final touches get added in ASAP, and the Eater of Worlds has been called to face me, and it stands no chance. My vampire frogs obliterate its starting cluster, immediately taking out half of its health. Without that start, this would maybe be a different story, but the combo of blood constantly raining down and my frog's ability to pierce like crazy, the Eater's health continues to rapidly decline. It falls into a bit of a stun lock, and the Eater of Worlds has been defeated. I place its relic and decide to go all in on my frogs, collecting a handful of obsidian alongside a hell forge, which I used to craft myself a full set of obsidian armor, bringing my summoning game up from a 1 to, I don't know, maybe like a 6, 7 maybe? Either way, it's time to make use of the Skeletron arena I built while waiting for the moon. All I have to do is add in a few platforms and curse an old guy. Skeletron awakens, and I really think I should have gone all in on Ranger instead. With no whip, the frogs are a bit aimless and not high damaging. While even in obsidian armor, the Blood Rainbow has both a good spread of projectiles and a not too shabby damage. Skeletron's first hand is broken, soon followed by the second, launching the fight into the let's just go in circles and see what happens phase. And what happens is, Skeletron has been defeated. The Vrogs did pick up the pace a bit in the second half, allowing me access into the dungeon, from which I need the following objects: the mechanic, okay, in hindsight, maybe object wasn't quite the right word to use for the mechanic, but I do find and free her, grab myself an alchemy and bewitching table, and finally, before dipping, a cobalt shield. Queen Bee is up next on the ruthlessly slaughter for seemingly no reason list, so I place the Skeletron relic, then delve into the jungle. I've thankfully already found a hive, so I get straight to mining out a basic arena, cutting it maybe a bit short, literally, before saying screw it and summoning the Queen Bee herself. I have to stay on the lower layers in order for my bow to work properly, but as the fight heats up, it's not bad at all. That is, until I'm past the heating up stage and into the heated up stage, tanking the damage my Vrogs deal since she's mostly airborne and making my bow practically useless while she dashes. I hold firmly onto life, and to seemingly nothing, the Queen Bee has been defeated. I have absolutely no idea what actually killed her here, but I am not complaining. I use what remains of the entomologist's dream to make some bee armor before being a bit too lazy to fight her again, and instead mending together a full set of necro armor, before becoming unlazy and fighting her again and finishing off the full set of bee armor. The extra money from the fight also lets me buy a pygmy necklace, which good great golly I am going to need for it's time to take on the devilish, dream-crushing, and deadly Deerclops. Holy the what? That was supposed to be a joke about how easy this guy is, but wow, I am sucking. Taken down to the brink of death, I barely managed to survive, and the actually devilish, dream-crushing, and deadly Deerclops has been defeated. Only a single opponent left in the way of getting to hard mode. I've got some work to do before taking them on. And to name just a few of these tasks, I scour the tundra looking for ice skates, mine a handful of hellstone for tools, then make use of said tools to both isolate the corruptions as well as find out a full-on underground monster farm I'll make use of in hard mode. Thank goodness for a Wallace and Gromit, or this would be so incredibly boring.
I'm inventing mostly.
The side tasks all checked off now, it's about time I get to building a hell bridge, aiming to make it pretty long since my Blood Rainbow will be completely useless for most of the fight, and while it makes me hate existence itself, I follow through. Along the way getting a magma stone eye shimmer into a lava charm, combining it with the dozen other items I've gathered to make a fresh as hell pair of Terra Spark boots. Oh, I guess I do also change the rest of my outfit as well, you may have noticed. Anyways, I gather my courage, collect a wretched voodoo doll, and upon tossing it into the infernal depths, the wall of flesh has awoken. As I've seen before, the vampire frogs are probably the best summon against the wall of flesh, but without a whip, the best really isn't that great. Not to mention that with such a low ceiling, my bow is useless. Yet I press on being allowed to focus solely on evading the wall's attacks until so close to success, the wall begins to outpace my Vrogs. So sayonara DPS. I die with the wall at 170 health remaining. I really have no idea how to work around the wall speed at the end of the fight, so just opt to blow up the roof near where the fight ended last time in hopes it will allow me to finish off the fight with my bow. I sure ain't confident about it, but here goes nothing. Insert Vine Boom sound effect. 50 health away from hard mode, I am once again killed. And little did I know it, this was just the beginning. Attempt 3 gets cut short thanks to a blasted bone serpent. Attempt 4 comes along with the newly added arena buffs, yet for some reason way surpasses the current length of the bridge. Same with attempt number 5. I love this game. Out of dolls, I'm forced to spend 30 minutes slowly losing brain cells while waiting to get another. Only stopping when the goblins decide to only make my situation worse. And yet, there is a pillar of light here. Without even realizing it, the second Halloween exclusive weapon is dropped. Sure, I might never ever even use the bladed gloves again, but I plan on collecting every single weapon I can use this playthrough, so at least it's something to cross off a checklist. Back to the wall, I am struggling to finish out the fight. These are literally the only 4 weapons I can use aside from literal eggs, so I can't really just switch strategies. Which brings us to attempt number 7. And unbeknownst to me at the time, attempt number 7, spelled backwards, is actually never give up, champ. Now that's not technically true, or even close to true for that matter, but the point still stands. As the Great Duel reaches its dropping off point, a miracle. The Vrogs persist a little longer than normal, dropping the wall into its killable range, and at long last, the Wall of Flesh has been defeated. Thanks only to my immense skills and great fashion choices. I consume the Demon's Heart, extending my accessory slots, but realize I have run out of places to display my magnificent relics.
2,000 years later.
Sure, I may be too lazy to actually make my house look good, but at least it's something. I place the wall's relic and embark on the journey through hard mode, starting by breaking every altar I see, dying as a consequence, then mining my way through all 3 of the new ores before forging myself a full set of adamantite armor alongside a pickaxe, once again landing me in a state of waiting. If I want to stand even the remotest chance of taking down the mechs, I am in desperate need of hard mode Blood Moon weapons, which much to my dismay requires a Blood Moon. I do literally everything I could possibly think of while waiting, isolating the new biomes, mining out an arena, fighting off pirates, everything. And it all takes forever to do. I mean, my Vrogs deal only 150 DPS to the Flying Dutchman, an enemy with 24,000 health. But finally, after so many hours spent just doping around, there are a ton of different weapons I'll need to get over time, but in order to get certain ones, I'll need a stepping off point, aka clowns. Thankfully, it's a pretty short step as I'm able to get the KO cannon this first night, and while it may be kind of trash, and maybe I wish I would have gotten the banana ring instead, it's an improvement nonetheless. The night ends with a bloody tear in hand, and ready to move on to step 2, I built a fully covered arena over the ocean for dealing with my newest target, blood eels. I drop my line, and soon enough, I've caught one. But man, is my damage truly abysmal. So the one and only blood eel lives to fight another night. Not a bloody tear in sight. I'm able to actually kill one of the beasts this time, but luck is clearly not in my favor, so never mind. This is really getting old. Way too late for taking down an eel, I decided to try my hand at a hemogoblin shark, hoping that since the arena is fully enclosed, they shouldn't be able to run away. Turns out, that isn't the issue here. A blood eel is killed, yet from it I gain nothing. Please just end my pain. Clearly it's not very effective just going after blood eels, so after a bit of messing around in a creative world, I come up with a solution for taking on hemogoblin sharks. That way I can be making the most of any situation. Nothing. Awesome, the one useless thing I could have gotten. I do, however, manage to capture my first hemo whatever, and slowly but surely I'm able to get it into a small enough area where I can take it out post-Blood Moon. And it drops another flippin' hammer. My new plan here is to focus entirely on goblins and spend the entire night just fishing a bunch of them before dealing with them once the night has ended. Too bad I go literally 2 blocks too far to the side and they all despawn immediately. You want to know the funny part? Hammers have the exact same odds of dropping as the Bloodthorn. Isn't that just awesome? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and nothing. I don't even know what to say here. Lucky number 13 yields 9 entire sharks, and after killing 15 hemogoblins in total, I finally hit the 25% chance. The Bloodthorn is mine. And I cannot stress just how long that took. Literal days, folks. I spent actual days just sleeping and occasionally fishing. It took so long, in fact, that I had enough time to farm for the Rod of Discord, get killed by 8 naturally occurring mechs, and open well over 50 goodie bags. It was purgatory, but at least it's finally over. No more blasted blood moons. I literally can't say anything here because not a single word running through my head right now is even remotely close to appropriate. But I really can't handle another blood moon right now, so I turn to becoming a mage. To start, I actually get up to maximum mana, craft the mage's adamantite helmet, make a magnet flower, kill wyverns thanks to the actually pretty cool bloodthorn, and finally finish off the fit with a pair of demon wings, meaning it's time to take the final step. I expand the ocean arena and upon fish out the dreaded Dread Nautilus. Now, I'm not messing around here. I want this whole blood moon... Oh, can't even say the name. But I want it to end. So logged in like crazy, I slowly chip away at the beast's health, being as careful as possible to not make a single mistake. And the dreaded Dread Nautilus has been defeated. The night ends and I get straight to work on spider armor, pushing my sanguine count all the way up to 6 without potions. What a sight. And speaking of sight, it's been days since I've last actually fought a boss, so the duel does not go very well to say the least, dying with neither of the twins in their second phase. I extend the arena a bit and resummon them, using the Bloodthorn wherever I can, but mostly letting my bats deal all of the damage. And while said damage is not the worst, it's not enough to get me through. And the same goes for the next attempt. I'm simply getting wrecked by spaz. Though with each failed attempt, I am improving, pushing Greenie into its second phase at higher than 10 health, attempt number 5. Dashing is the only reason I survive, and Spaz has been decommissioned, leaving Rhett to defend their honor alone. His first phase is a breeze, and while his second nearly gets the better of me, the twins have been defeated. The first hard mode boss beaten, I buy myself a jetpack and Blend-O-Matic, then summon the second boss, Skeletron Prime. Not sure why I didn't make use of the Blend-O-Matic here, but the fight goes fantastic nevertheless. Without a whip, I have to manually focus my summons on his blaster arm, since taking it out first is essential to survival, letting me live long enough to eliminate all but one of Skeletron's hands. And I mean, at this point, there's really not much he could do to stop me, so Skeletron Prime has been defeated, giving me just enough hallowed bars to forge a full set of armor. 2 down, 1 to go. And that 1 is the Destroyer. Okay, wow, maybe the real boss here is actually werewolves, because that was an insane amount of damage. I think I might just scratch that whole attempt from the record. I use a mechanical worm to awaken the Destroyer for the first time and absolutely shred his starting coil. Just like with his predecessor, this saves the fight. I try to keep my distance for the most part, especially while he goes ballistic while firing lasers, yet as I get closer and closer to victory, my inhibitions fade away, turning the fight into a game of Dodge the Destroyer, ultimately ending as the Destroyer of Worlds has been defeated, and the jungle grows restless. Which sucks for it, because it's not quite that time yet. There's still one little issue in the way. For who knows why, it's now I decide to actually replace the floor with asphalt before summoning her gloopiness. We make our way to the arena, and as per usual, this fight is no joke. Projectiles are flying everywhere, and the smell of bath water is overwhelmingly strong. She drops into her second phase, and I am barely holding on, dooming myself when I attempt to double back, only to be met with all of her minions I didn't bother taking care of. I summon her again, making my way through phase 1 completely hitless, nice job me, but am thoroughly drenched by her winged ways soon after. I replenish my supply of gelatin crystals and get demolished another 2 times. Her projectiles are way too damaging with my extremely low defense, so I make the change over to Mage. Admittedly, it ain't that much better, and the damage is abysmal during phase 1, but it at least gets me through it. Making use of the Bloodthorn's increased damage, I kill any loose slimes before switching back to Summoner mid-fight, and the Queen Slime has been defeated. Truly an all-over-the-place experience that just magically got me the win. Plantera is up next, but I've still got some unfinished business with Blood Moons, namely the Drippler Crippler, check, and the Banana Ring, also check. Now that the Bloody Blood Moons are 100% behind me, I dive into the jungle, collecting enough life fruit to get me to full health, as well as an extra to shimmer. From there, mining out a Plantera arena using the pickaxe axe, getting a jungle key out of nowhere, and finishing off the box with an asphalt floor. Meaning the time has come to challenge the final boss left standing between me and the final set of weapons. Phase 1 is easy like normal, requiring me to just do circles around her while dealing 400 DPS or so. Phase 2, however, nothing makes sense and everything is utter chaos, slushing every bit of my health away in seconds. But I don't really mind, because it just means I get to spend more time with the cutie. She enters phase 2 pretty quickly, and again, it all goes to hell, trapping me in a bad spot and smashing through all but 2 of my hearts. Yet I pull out clutch mode, and just in the nick of time, Plantera has been defeated. With zero hesitation, I enter the new and improved dungeon, looking to just get enough ectoplasm to summon the Pumpkin Moon. Instead, I get a black belt from the first Bonely I kill, the Tabby from the second, and a Paladin's Shield from the first of its kind, leaving the dungeon with this insanely good haul from only being there long enough to get 15 ectoplasm. Aside from the dungeon, I upgrade my armor to Chlorophyte because I can, and am forced to take down Skeletron Prime once more for hallowed bars. My actual weapons haven't changed, but my new new armor makes the fight way easier. At last letting me call down the entire reason I'm even doing this challenge, the Pumpkin Moon. The spooky enemies begin their invasion yearning for blood, while I yearn to get all of the weapons dropped by Morningwoods and Pumpkins, of which I've never used most, so I have no clue which ones I'm actually gonna use. Although it seems like the answer is none, when throughout the entirety of the night I don't get a single one. I give it another go, but my damage is beyond horrible. I mean, it makes sense since they're all technically pre-boss hard mode weapons, but still. The second night comes to a close, still fruitless, and I'll just save us all a bit of time here. I get absolutely nothing but a few bundles of wood and sorrow until the 6th moon. I had to endure 6 full pumpkin moons before the stake launcher is finally dropped, swiftly followed by the bat scepter that same night. I decided to test out my new equipment on a target dummy, and the relief seeing a higher number than 200 is just... it's incredible. Right away though, I can tell I like the stake launcher a touch better, so after collecting a mountain of shrooms, I'm able to forge a full set of shroomite armor, putting it to good work against the 8th pumpkin moon. And I mean good work. The sheer speed at which this thing shreds through all of these starting grunts is genuinely insane. It's not quite as good against single targets, but gets the job done for now, propelling me to get the Horseman's Blade that night, the Dark Harvest and Ravenstaff Pump King 8 and 9 respectively, and finally the Jack-o'-lantern launcher night 10 and Candy Corn rifle night 11. Marking the very last Halloween weapon of the playthrough officially mine, and dubbing me the one true king of Hallows Eve. In total, it took me 47 Morningwoods and 17 Pumpkins to get it all, but with one moon down, it's time to take on the other. And given this challenge, I darest not even mention its blasphemous name. So blah blah blah, 1 boss dead, 2 bosses dead, 3 bosses dead. Let's just leave it at that and move on to the non-heretic boss, Gollum, whom after I unlock his temple doors, traverse his halls without triggering a single trap, and set up the classic zero-effort arena, I awaken. Something I really didn't expect going into the fight was just how good the Jackinator is against Gollum. The explosions are able to hit all 3 of his hitboxes at the exact same time, essentially tripling my damage output. The only downside being that his fists are destroyed after his core, so now I've got to deal with lasers, fire, and his fists, pushing me over my computing limit where I am soon killed. The same head before fists problem happens again the next attempt, but I managed to die even faster this time, so that's cool. I use the Rod of Discord to fast track into the Golem's chamber for attempt 3, so let's go actually used it for something. The Golem breaks into its base components, picking up the heat, but with the help from the rebounding Candy Corn rifle, I just managed to push through until the Golem has been defeated. I've gotta say, using these unique weapons interchangeably is genuinely a blast. It makes all of the fights seem like a little mini puzzle of figuring out when and where to use what. Okay, so do you want the good news or the bad news first? Oh, right, this is a highly edited and very much not live production. Here's the bad news. The footage of me defeating the Old One's army totally got corrupted, so I don't have any footage of it. But here's the good news. It went off without a hitch, first try, 0 issues, all 3 mini-bosses dead and buried. This is a totally real relic because Betsy was 100% doable and not completely impossible given my weapons. Totally. Only one event remains to be conquered, so I build up over the ocean and the Martians are invading. I know I say this for literally every Post-Plantera event, but man do I hate this flipping invasion. Having to deal with the hundreds of Martians while fighting the insanely overpowered saucer makes me wanna... Deep breaths, deep breaths. It ends up taking me 5 full-scale armies before a single saucer is finally destroyed. Every time one would spawn, a little thing would be slightly out of place, causing my death. But each and every mini-boss now felled, aside from Betsy, I'm free to move on to the last of the proper bosses, beginning with the Duke Fishron. He awakens and I really have no good weapon to deal with him, having to settle for just using the stake launcher. Phase 1 gets me more than it definitely should, but he enters Phase 2, then 3, and that's where I'm really screwed. I know his pattern is just 1, 2, 3, but I cannot get a grip on that mid-fight for some reason. Going at it again sees me through to him going Insanio style, and what do I even say here? I am not great at this. Not very good. Verging on bad, kinda bad, pretty bad. The worst part is there's literally nothing I can do aside from just playing better. I've got all the buffs, all of the weapons, and the necessary arena. It all comes down to skill. And speaking of skill, a single hit away from death, the Duke Fishron has at last been defeated. I place his relic, catch a prismatic lacewing, and upon killing it, the Empress of Light has awoken. Given my professional Empress fighting skills, the poor girl doesn't stand a chance. Unless she kicks me outside of the arena, there she actually does stand a chance. That's embarrassing, but coming back stronger than ever this time, she doesn't stand a chance. The Royal goes feral, and I've got to admit, with such low damage, I genuinely do have a few close calls. Sure, I know her moveset extremely well, but make the fight take 6 full minutes, and I'm bound to get hit a few times. Yet the Empress of Light is still defeated. I open up her treasure bag to find one of the greatest accessories in the game waiting for me. Infinite Flight is now mine, and I am eager to make good use of it against the final 2 bosses left alive, meaning it's time to make the final preparations. I head into the tundra, mine out a mini farming area, and massacre the local ecosystem until a frozen turtle shell is dropped. And by combining it with a paladin's shield, I essentially just have an upgraded cobalt shield. Next up, I return to the dungeon looking for ectoplasm. Up to this point, I've almost exclusively used the Pumpkin Moon's ranged weapons, and I feel like I should at least give the Bat Scepter a proper chance. It takes a while to collect enough ghastly goo, but I make a full set of the non-baby mode Spectre armor that I can use interchangeably with my Shroomite set. It feels very wrong mixing classes like this, but should help with managing the immense enemy variety I'm about to face in the pillars, because I just summoned the Lunatic Cultist. This really shouldn't be a difficult fight, but a downwards tumble begins when I manage to perfectly avoid hitting the actual cultist, causing a phantasmal dragon to spawn. Immediately, I'm shot all the way down to a single heart remaining, and again, something must be seriously wrong with me, because instead of just hitting the heal button, I go the next 20 seconds one hit from death, pulling off some impressive yet completely unnecessary moves. I finally decide to heal, but again I get screwed over by the Shadow Cultists, so another dragon has entered the fight. Again hit down to a single mistake away from death, I double down on the Ludiocrity and don't flipping heal for 40 seconds this time. I mean, look at what I'm having to do to stay alive here. Why am I doing this to myself? Yet despite all of the odds not in my favor here, for understandable reasons, the Lunatic Cultist has been defeated and the Celestial Beasts are invading. Gotta hand it to them, they are quick to get here, but I'm even quicker to retaliate. First entering the Stardust Pillar, then exiting the Stardust Pillar, then re-entering it, then exiting it. I think you get the idea here. Its shields are soon destroyed, followed by the pillar itself's destruction. Entering into the dreaded Nebula Pillar next, it's actually not too bad for what I believe the first time ever, only doing me in thrice before it's destroyed. The Solar Pillar, on the other hand, obliterates me over and over again. I usually find it to be amongst the easiest, but I guess without a weapon that has decent knockback, the difficulty definitely ramps up a bit. Yet the pillar is eventually dealt with, meaning it's time to embrace my doom and to take down the final Celestial Pillar. It takes a couple of lives to get the box method set up properly, but once in place, the never-ending fountain of jack-o'-lanterns plows through the horde of insectoids, releasing the pillar's shields and allowing it to be destroyed. Impending doom now approaching, I really need to not make any stupid mistakes. Awesome. Luckily, I pull myself out of the dirt by my big boy pants and sit waiting for the greatest of beasts to arrive. And he does. Shooting down the arena, I use my stake launcher on his hands, switching to his top eye instead whenever he opens it. He charges up his infamous phantasmal death ray and kills me just like that. I think I'm just gonna have to take a quick breather here because that was so incredibly embarrassing to relive. Without a shadow of a doubt, that was by far the worst Moonlord fight I've ever taken part in, but I blame the house, okay? That was not my fault. Not entirely my fault. I extend the arena to cover the desert pylon and recall down the Moonlord with a celestial sigil. The fight starts off way better this time as I effortlessly avoid the first death ray. My damage is a lot lower than I was hoping for, however, forcing me to endure far more attacks in order to see the Moonlord's first hand, then second hand destroyed. It takes a bit longer to remove the final eye, and I am really struggling to deal with all the wayward projectiles, lasers, and freaky ass tongues. So while I do survive to see the Moonlord's core exposed, I don't make it much further than that. I craft the second to last sigil I can, brew up another batch of super healing potions, and the Moonlord has awoken. Again, I'm able to survive the de-socketing of all of his eyes decently well, with the starting amount of projectiles not too bad. But when his core is opened to attacks, the cracks in my plan start to really show themselves. In order for me to actually hit it, I have to be frequently jumping while maintaining perfect accuracy with the stake launcher. Again, I am quickly disposed of with the Moonlord at 83,000 health. The desire to not do the celestial pillars again very much manifesting itself now, I combine the final void fragments and summon the Moonlord try-hard mode fully engaged. His first phase barely even trivial at this point, all 3 of his eyes are destroyed and his heart opened. Taking the chance, I switch into my Spectre armor, hoping that my bats will take care of both hitting the clots and the core, while I focus more on movement. And I mean, I guess it's a little bit better dying this time with the Moonlord all the way down to 74,000 health. It's technically improvement, so I will take it. Kind of like how I am now forced to just take the brutal realization that it's time to redo all of the pillars. I summon the cultist, have yet another insanely hectic fight, kill the cultist, and embark to destroy the pillars as well. But we've already seen all of this nonsense, so bing, bang, boom, bippity bop, impending doom approacheth. Then soon arriveth. A new rage inspired by having to redo the pillars propels me deep into the fight, seeing me through to destroy the Moonlord's wretched Eyes of Cthulhu and unleash the final opponent standing between me and unimaginable Halloween glory. Immediately I switch over to Mage, because I need to be entirely focused on staying alive here. Yet even my enhanced movement isn't enough, as I am knocked down to but a single piece of health. A single mistake, hell, even just a slime now enough to do me in, I leap to take advantage of the mercy Terraria has shown me and play my heart out. Meeting the 1 in 10 odds given by my Master Ninja Gear to evade an attack, I live just long enough to drink a healing potion and gaze upon what was once the mightiest being in all the land become nothing but a lowly flash of light. At last, the Moonlord has been defeated. From start to finish, using nothing but the spookiest, scariest, and Halloweeniest of weapons. The credits begin their forward march, and as the final celebration plays, the night rolls over to November 1st. Special thanks to all of my amazing channel members, as well as just to anyone who's made it this far in the video. Have a fantastic November, keep keeping on, subscribe and like the video to make big numbers bigger, and see ya!